Welcome to The Explainer. What if all the conflicts we see dominating the headlines, everything from trade wars to, well, actual wars, what if they aren't just political failures? What if they're actually mathematical ones? Today, we're diving into a framework that tries to put a number on all that global friction and asks a really critical question. Can we consciously choose a better, more efficient, cooperative future? So to really get a handle on that choice, let's just imagine a future for a second, one that feels all too plausible. Picture it. It's February 28th, 2026, and the world is waking up to news of a massive new conflict in the Middle East. And this post from President Trump? Well, it frames it as more than just a military strike. It's pitched as a moment of revolutionary change.
So this isn't some distant, abstract threat, right? This is the reality of what that kind of high-stakes competition looks like. We're talking about a world just full of friction, of conflict, of chaos. Let's take a look at just how fast things can spin out of control.
The speed of the escalation here, it's just breathtaking. I mean, what you're seeing is decades of proxy wars and simmering tensions just boiling over in a matter of hours. The first move is this massive offensive, which leads to a direct strike on Iran's leadership. And the response? It's almost immediate, a huge barrage of missiles. And just like that, the entire region is plunged into a level of chaos that it hasn't seen in generations. And while all the bombs are falling, there's a whole other war being fought. A sophisticated, chaotic war in cyberspace. And here, the lines between civilian and military, they're just gone. Imagine, a popular prayer app on your phone with 5 million users suddenly becomes a tool for propaganda. Or the official news sites you trust are hijacked to spread lies. And then, the internet itself is basically switched off, creating this massive information vacuum right when people need it most.
Okay, so this level of conflict, it just feels like a colossal failure, politically and humanly. Some of the sources we looked at flat out call it an illegal war of aggression. But what if we try to look at it from a totally different angle? What if all this chaos isn't just a failure of diplomacy, but a failure of mathematics?
What if we could actually measure all the friction, all the waste in our systems? Not just in a war like this, but even in our own political debates. What if we could literally assign it a number?
So this framework from the Blueprint for Harmony introduces this idea called interaction costs, or I factors for short. The easiest way to think about it is like friction in a machine. The war in Iran, that's a system with a catastrophically high I factor. It's just pure wasted energy, pure destruction. On the other hand, a system that works well, like a smooth supply chain or a really productive team, has a very, very low I factor. Okay, so if conflict is just a high-cost mathematical state, what allows our systems to change? How do we get out of it? Well, the source material argues the answer is a variable that is totally unique to us as a species.
And that variable? It's human consciousness. The framework argues that our collective awareness, our ability to learn, to share really complex ideas, and to recognize patterns, is a quantifiable accelerator. It allows us to change our social and political systems 100 to even 1,000 times faster than the slow, grinding pace of biological evolution. We don't have to wait for disaster to teach us a lesson. We can actually choose a different path ahead of time.
But, and this is a really crucial point, this accelerator works both ways. Our consciousness can be used to design incredibly sophisticated cyber weapons or financial products that destabilize the whole system. We can accelerate our race to the bottom. Or it can be used to rapidly build institutions that create stability and cooperation. The tool itself is neutral. It's all about how we choose to use it.
And this brings us to the blueprint for cooperation. Because this isn't just some hopeful, fuzzy ideal. It's a proven, mathematically superior strategy. It's a low I factor state that we, as a species, have consciously and successfully chosen before, especially in moments of crisis.
I mean, just look at South Africa. They were staring down the barrel of a guaranteed bloody civil war, a path of maximum friction, of maximum I factors. But their leaders, Nelson Mandela and F.W. de Klerk, they made a different calculation. They consciously chose reconciliation. They understood the catastrophic cost of revenge and used their collective awareness to build a cooperative path instead. It was a leadership choice that literally saved millions of lives.
Or think about the Montreal Protocol. When we were faced with a global existential threat, a hole in the ozone layer, humanity didn't just squabble for decades. No, we used our consciousness accelerator. We went from recognizing the problem to having a binding global solution in just a few years. It was an absolutely stunning display of accelerated cooperation, all driven by a shared understanding of what was at stake.
And the result of that choice?
An estimated 2 million cases of skin cancer are prevented every single year. That right there is the tangible dividend you get for choosing a low-cost, cooperative solution over a high-cost path of denial and delay.
You know, even the modern world we live in, with all of its flaws, was born from this same logic. After the absolute devastation of World War II, the ultimate high I-factor event, leaders came together and deliberately built frameworks, the UN, the WTO, all designed to make cooperation more rational and more beneficial than conflict.
So, this brings us right back to today. We're standing at a fork in the road, a bifurcation point. We can see that world of high-cost competition we started with, and we know from these examples that a world of low-cost cooperation is absolutely possible. And it turns out, this choice has a very real price tag.
So what is the cost of all this friction? Well, the Blueprint for Harmony framework puts a number on it: $24 trillion. It's a staggering figure. That's the estimated amount humanity wastes every single year on these high-cost competitive solutions. It's an amount of money that could solve our biggest challenges many times over. But instead, it's just lost to conflict and inefficiency.
And as you can see here, this isn't just about military spending, though that alone is a whopping $2.4 trillion. It's all the waste that's baked into our everyday systems. It's redundant supply chains built for national competition. It's inefficient energy grids. It's legal systems designed for fighting instead of problem-solving. It's essentially the hidden tax of living in a high-friction world.
The math really shows that we're in a critical window. We've got two options. Option one, we use that consciousness accelerator to redesign our systems now, on purpose, a process that the source suggests could take maybe 5 to 15 years. Or there's option two, we wait. We let the current high-cost system collapse under its own weight, and then we're forced to rebuild, a process that could take decades and come at an unimaginable human cost.
You know the conflict we saw at the beginning? That is one possible future, one governed by high-cost competition. The success of the Montreal Protocol? That's another, one governed by low-cost cooperation. The ability to choose between them, accelerated by our own awareness and our demand for better leadership, is the most powerful tool we have. The question this whole framework leaves us with is, how are we going to decide to use it?